Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Mary Ellen.
Hey, and this is Maurice Velasquez, and we are with Vista Consulting. And we're here to share with you some thoughts that we have been using, not just for the past 2-3 weeks while we've been in this COVID-19 crisis, but see, Vista is a very remote team. So we thankfully have had a lot of experience of working with each other remotely. All of our team members are remote. We've been doing that for years. That's the way we've established. And we help our clients remotely all the time. And so the things that we're going to discuss today are the things we've been helping remote teams for the past 5-6 years. But now more than ever, it's become very real because we're all having to work from home. So Mary Ellen and I got together and said, whoa, let's put this into list together. And then let's do a webinar or video so we can help you guys out. So that's what all this is about. All right.
Yeah, we want to take our experience and what we've been able to accomplish and help impart that to you guys.
That's right. All right. So we broke this out into 2 sections: motivating remote teams and managing remote teams. Mary Ellen's going to start us off with motivating teams, and that's mostly from the angle of the remote team members. I'm going to take more of the managing the remote teams from the managing side of things. All right, so let's get started. You ready? Let's dive in. So let me share the screen here and let's show everybody what we're talking about. And here we go. All right, do you have it on the screen there on your side?
Yes, I see it up on my screen. Practical tips for working from home.
That's right. So it's a good list of 10. So give me an idea. Give yourself a minute. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is when I made the jump from being an office worker all of the time to being a remote worker all the time, that's definitely a transition. It's a different kind of environment. And so you kind of have to give yourself a minute to jump into that new thing. And what I mean by give yourself a minute in this context is you don't wake up in the morning and jump right into a client email, right into a client phone call, because that's not what would happen when you're working in the office. You'd have time to get up, get your cup of coffee, listen to the news as you're driving to work, say good morning to your coworkers. You'd have that time to sort of ease into your day. Give yourself that time to ease into your day, even when you're working from home. If you're up as soon as you hear that email ding, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, you don't have boundaries. You have starting points, end points, so everything blurs, right?
Exactly, and you're working all the time, and you feel like you're never off, you're never available for your family if you operate like that.
It's hard enough to have created that don't bring work home before. Now everything's thrown together. So if you don't do this, you're gonna crowd up your work-life balance, right?
Exactly. Okay. So give yourself some time to ease into your workday.
Cool. All right, number 2, get ready for work.
So I have ready in quotation marks there. I've seen a lot of tips lately on people who are newly working from home, and they say, get ready for work as you would, put your makeup on, get dressed nicely. And I'm here to tell you, that's not for me.
You see, Mary Ellen, I'm one of the guys that I have to get ready for work.
And if that's what you need to be successful, by all means do it. And I'm the kind of person that I have day pajamas and I have night pajamas.
And see, I made the mistake of saying, well, then I'm that way. Well, then, hey, my wife and my kids got to be the same way, And they're like, no, it never registered that, wait a minute, some people don't need to get ready. As a matter of fact, the more relaxed they are, the better they're off. That's what you're saying, right? And
that's what I'm saying. Certainly, if you have a client Zoom meeting, if you've got something where you need to project that image of professionalism, then by all means do that. But you know what? A Zoom meeting is only the top. So,
right. Well, let's tell everybody. You and I called each other 30 minutes ago. You ready for this? No, I'm not ready yet. And we got ourselves face ready. Okay, that's right. I went and ironed the top part of my shirt.
I'm gonna talk here. I don't usually look like this when I'm working from home.
That's right. Okay. All right. So number 3, have a dedicated workspace.
Yep. So what I mean by that is, not all of us have the luxury of having some super fancy in-home office.
Right.
Give yourself a dedicated workspace, even if that just means a spot at your dining room table. That's the place where you surround yourself with your papers that you need, your headphones, your cell phone, your computer. And when you're there, you're at work. If you need to take a break, you get up from that dedicated workspace and head into your kitchen or wherever else in your house. But know that signals to your brain, I'm at work right now because I'm at my dedicated workspace.
Yeah, I think that I've heard you do this list before. That one to me is one that's helped me the most. It helps me to say I'm working here, I'm not working here. Again, boundaries and spaces, right?
Yep. My home office is in my basement, and I almost have this like brain switch when I go down the basement steps. I move from the I'm at home to I'm at work right now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. And you know what? for number two, I do the same thing. Remember, I'm the one that gets ready. Whenever I finish working, I go change shirts.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm at home, and I guess what you're saying is because we're all different personalities and have different psyches. Whatever, tailor it to yourself and just be yourself for yourself. Don't impose that on everybody else, because we're not, in this regard, it's got to be very fluid, right?
Exactly. You got it.
Okay. So cool. All right. Number 4, building breaks.
Build and break. So, when we're working in an office, people have this idea that we've got like 8 hours of uninterrupted focused bliss. And let's face it, that's just simply not the case.
Right.
You may be in an office, but you've got your colleagues coming in to bounce ideas off of you and talk to you. You're getting up for bathroom breaks and coffee breaks. You're walking into meetings. You're taking phone calls. You've got things that sort of break up that focused, uninterrupted time. And if your expectation when you're working from home is that it's going to be this just blissful, completely focused, uninterrupted time for 8 hours, I think you're setting yourself up for an unrealistic expectation.
And also unhealthy, right?
Exactly. Very unhealthy. So, I aim for kind of chunks of focused time. So, I've got my phone call scheduled out, but I also kind of schedule in time for myself to say, in this hour, I'm going to work on this project and get it knocked out, kind of eat that frog, if you will.
Right.
Move on to something else. And in the meantime, I might grab a cup of coffee. I might get myself some water, whatever it is to break it up. But I'm certainly not sitting here looking at my computer screen, uninterrupted focus for 8 hours, because that's an unrealistic.
Right. And interestingly and ironically enough, I have gotten more, I don't know if you have, I have gotten more requests about time management techniques since the COVID-19 started, because this has forced everyone to phase their own time management.
Exactly. And it's a tough transition, I think,
well, at the office we had that river that you just jump in and you kind of just go with the flow. But here, the flow is you. So
you set that flow. You got to set that structure for yourself.
That's right. Yeah. So maybe that's one that you and I can do in the future as far as time management techniques for that. So, all right, number 5. I like this one a whole lot. Know yourself. What do you tell us a little bit about that?
Talking about that a little bit in some of these other ones. For example, you saying you're the kind of person who likes to get dressed for work and get ready because that knows your brain. What I mean by this is, I don't start my calls until at least 10 o'clock in the morning. I know my morning brain. Okay. It's much better for kind of being quiet, focusing on a project. I'm not really on yet. I'm not really ready to shine. I'm not really ready to accept all of that yet. So I know that about myself, and I structure my day so that I am the most productive I can be. If you're the kind of person who works best in the morning, put those tasks in the morning that you can really get knocked out, and keep some of those things that you don't have to be as 100% focused on in the afternoon. And everybody works differently. So, and it may take a little bit of time, a little bit of rhythm to figure out how you work best, but I'm saying structure your day in the way that makes you most productive. And that's going to look different for me than it is for you.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good. That's really good. I hate to do this a lot, but this feels like you and I ought to do another one later on this whole thing of know yourself, your personality, and different things for different people.
Well, it fit into your profiles, I think, really well, because I think that probably ties into who we are as people.
Well, yeah. And look, I mean, my wife and I work very closely in the business, and she's got her clients, I have my clients, but it's interesting, even though we've worked very closely in the past, now we're working at home all the time. I'm seeing an angle on her and she's seeing angles on me. We hadn't seen each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and so that this whole know yourself thing is like, know yourself and the people you're having to live with now. Yeah. Absolutely. So, okay. All right. No, good. All right. Well, see, I think that segues really well into what I've heard you say about number 6.
Cut yourself
Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So for a lot of us, this is new. Okay. And most of us don't master new things the first time we do them. So again, if your expectation is I'm coming into this remote work situation from all this time working in an office and I'm going to nail it on day 1, well, that's probably not the case. Give yourself a little bit of grace, give yourself a little bit of slack to figure out your rhythm, to figure out what works best for you, and then implement that. It's going to, I had a little bit of a transition period when I moved from office work to remote work to figure out that, when I go down the basement steps, that's what makes my brain switch. When I don't take breaks, it burns me out. So it takes a little while to figure out those things about yourself. So just cut yourself a little bit of slack as you master this.
Yeah, no, I can really relate to this one a lot. I'm actually taking out the garbage 3-4 times a day.
Oh my gosh. And the amount of dishes that we have because we're eating everything at home. It's
well, and I'm just realizing I'm just going to take out the garbage because I get to walk, I get to breathe, I give myself that slack. I think, you know what I'm saying? And so just combining all this to make it work for you is really what I like about your list. It just segues so well, and dominoes, they work well together, you know? So, okay, good points. Number 7, don't be an island.
Don't be an island. So Vista has one of the best work cultures of any company I've ever worked for.
Yep.
And we're 100% remote. We only see each other when we have Vista events, when we may be together at, client visits. And, once a year we have a kickoff meeting. Other than that, we really have to be very intentional about our culture.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting at my house and I'm struggling with an issue with a client, what I mean by don't be an island is I don't just sit there and struggle with it. I reach out to them. I know they're there for me. I know that I can call any one of our consultants. I can call Tim. They're going to be able to be available for me to bounce ideas. They're going to help support me through that. I'm never an island, even if physically I am by myself and not with my colleagues. I'm emotionally not by myself when I'm part of it.
Of course, I'm part of that culture, and I feel it. I see it. I can definitely concur that is reality. I've noticed that we have structured meetings. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then we have impromptu planning meetings as needed, right? Yep. And then we also have a lot of hallway conversations. It's just that the hallway is not physical.
We do. We have a lot of text strings. We've got a lot of memes.
Exactly right. And then what I love about it is that whenever we start realizing that, okay, I've been talking to this person, but you know what, let's just call each other. And then we do a 3-way or just Skype. We're very good. Now, it's taking time now. We've been practicing this for a while, right? But it's just being fluid and flexible as long as we know that there's I don't know, there's a set point in which we know we're going to meet on a regular basis. Like right now we're doing once a week because of the urgency, right?
Exactly.
But whenever we don't need it, we go to twice a week or once a week, every 2 weeks. We're constantly tightening up that rubber band, and we're also losing it as we go, right?
Exactly. And I think it just works. We just have to be intentional about that culture because we're not together. Yeah,
that's right. Okay, number 8. Trust your team.
Okay.
I like this one.
And this one can be a little hard for some people to swallow.
It's hard for me. And when I get to my list, you'll see why it's hard for me.
Well, I think that, and when I say trust your team, really it should say trust but verify.
See, so that's the point. You are really focusing on the trust side. What I'll cover later is on the confirm side. And those two,
they go hand in hand. You can't have
that's the beauty of it. That's right. Okay, keep going.
What I mean by trust your team is, I have no idea, Maurice, what you're doing at every minute of your day.
Right.
I have no idea what my other coworkers are doing at every minute of their day. But I know if we have a project together, I absolutely trust that you're coming through with your part of it. I know you're working. I trust that my team is, putting in 100% all of the time. And Tim has to have that trust in all of us as well, knowing that we're delivering for our clients. Even if he's not physically walking around laying eyeballs on us and seeing us do that work, he sees the outcomes of that work. So it's really about, yes, trust your team. And this goes, honestly, I know some people will disagree with me, but I think it doesn't have anything to do with the level of employee we're talking about. I'm talking about everybody from
I fully agree.
The person who's, picking up the papers to the person who is the president of the company. If you have to have trust in all of those people, and if you can't, those people really don't belong on your bus.
I know it has to be. Steve Jobs one time said the essence of teamwork is being able to trust one another that they're going to come through with what they said they were going to do without being on top of them all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And but that's the whole point. There is a checkpoint where you hold each other accountable, and that's where you confirm it.
And we'll certainly get to that in just a few minutes, I think.
That's right. Okay, so all right, you good to go to number 9?
I'm good. I'll breeze through the last 2. So
sure.
Working 9 to 5, my point here is I know there's certain jobs where you have to work a set schedule because you're on during business hours. But if you work a job that's not the case, 9 to 5 may not be your most productive time. I get a lot of stuff knocked out over the weekend. I get a lot of stuff knocked out, after my kids go to bed, when I've got some sort of quiet focus time. So I'm not always 9 to 5. I've got a lot of clients on the West Coast where I may have meetings sort of late into the evening, so I don't quite start as early those days. And that works for me. So it's back to that know yourself thing. Know what works for you and kind of work during those productive hours.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Lastly, to realize this is weird. This kind of applies to our situation that we're in right now. A lot of us have kids home who are sort of being forced to homeschool. We've got news coming at us from every angle, social media, TV. There's a lot right now. It's overwhelming. Even those of us who have developed a good rhythm and are working remotely and are very comfortable with it have had some stuff just thrown at us right now. So I just want everybody to kind of be cognizant, have a little bit of grace for yourself, realize that this is weird, and just, sort of treat everybody in that way, that we're gentle with ourselves, we're gentle with our kids, we're gentle with our team members, we're gentle with, our boss, all of those people, because we're all dealing with weird stuff.
And I think number 10 really brings it back to number 6. Give yourself and others some slack. Be patient with one another, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So my list really is focused on those of us who are workers working at home.